Okay, so I'm very sorry for the bad quality of image. I'm in a little corner of my shop and the light is really bad. I have one lamp coming on me. It's the only moment that I could find when I would be a little quiet, and as I was saying before, I have to space a little more the videos because of the holidays, Thanksgiving and everything. I have a lot of work to do and I don't have as much time as usually. It will calm down later, but I try to do my videos the best I can. So I found actually another subject which came to me, and I realized that I never really talked about that. It is the lyrics of Mark Hollis. I already made a video about the lyrics and the way he was writing the lyrics, but there is something that I didn't speak about. It's the fact that he has a certain way of writing the lyrics with a lot of contrasts, a lot of plays on words, and also I think, because he's speaking Cockney, I think that the Cockney is coming in the mix of these lyrics. I'm not a specialist in Cockney, I never learned that, I only read about that, because it really interests me. I'm very curious of this language, I find that very fascinating. So I'm absolutely not an expert in Cockney, but I know a few things. For example, sometimes they take a word to say another one if the two words rhyme or something like that. So I think that I guessed something like that in Mark Hollis' lyrics. So what I wanted to do, it was to take all the lyrics written by Mark Hollis or sung by Mark Hollis and finding examples of what I'm talking about. And actually it's impossible to do in one video, because just by taking one album, for example, It's My Life, it's the first album I went to first because it's the one I'm the most familiar with. Secondly, it's because I thought that it's an album where there are a lot of examples of what I'm thinking of. And actually, I found so many examples in It's My Life that I'm not even sure that I will be able to do it, the whole thing, on one video. For example, the first song of the album It's My Life, it's a Dum Dum Girl, and the name of the song is Dum Dum Girl. Okay, now there is not enough light, but whatever, I had really the light in my face, it was very unpleasant, so I'm going to continue. So the first song of It's My Life, it's Dum Dum Girl, and Dum Dum Girl, the title is written D-U-M, D-U-M, girl. But in the song, I read the lyrics on internet, so I don't know if it's internet who wrote it like that or if the lyrics were really written like that, but I found dumb, D-U-M-B, D-U-M-B. So that is, I don't know if it's right for that example, but I saw a lot of examples of songs where there is a sentence in the title, and the sentence is a little different in the song. That is something which happens very often in the Mark Hollis lyrics. For example, tomorrow started. In the lyrics, it's tomorrow starting. So there is always nuances like that which are interesting. I'm really not prepared today. That's not good. Okay, for the song Such a Shame, It's My Life. So there is a lot of things between change, and shame. It doesn't really rhyme. Change, shame. It's not exactly the same, but there is kind of an opposition, because change it can be negative for some people, but usually a change is something rather positive, but shame is something negative. So I see contrasts like that. For example, he says, a life on every face. That's a change. And then he says, maybe I don't know if I should change a feeling that we share. It's a shame. So the dice beside my fate. And that's a shame. So same thing, it's in the same part of the song. I mean, it's a variation of what he wanted to say, except that the words are not the same. They are not completely rhyming, and the meaning is quite different. But change and shame are two words which are coming very often in Mark Hollis' lyrics, and I think that's very interesting because it tells a lot on the author. Just, I was saying the dice beside my fate. So I found the dice beside my fate on internet. What I was understanding, it's the dice decides my fate, which makes much more sense, because if you read the book The Dice Man, it's the dice which decide the fate of the hero in the book. So I think that Mark Hollis wanted to say the dice decides my fate, but he wrote the dice beside my fate, and that is some Cockney. It's a supposition. I'm not saying that I'm right for sure, maybe I'm totally wrong, but it's not the first time that I think of something like that, and I think it's not a coincidence. So, yeah, he says, tell me to relax, I just stare. So relax and stare, you know, tell me to relax, so you are relaxed, and stare, it's really the contrary of relax. You're not really relaxed when you are staring, you know. So there are a lot of contrast like that, I noticed. Things which are, I would say, a priori, I don't know how we say that in English anyway, which are rather positive, and then just after it's a little negative or tense. Okay, I'm sorry I had to move, but I'm cooking, as you can see. I can't let something on my stove and leave and go to my shop, so I'm actually going to continue the video. I'm sorry about that. It's like I do that in between things. It's not very easy. Yes, I had to stop because I didn't have some battery anymore, so I had to charge a battery, and it's very complicated today. So I'm going to continue with the song Renee. I'm going just to take care of the album It's My Life, because if I do all the songs by Mark Hollis, the video is going to last forever. So I will limit myself with It's My Life, but probably I will come back on another video, maybe on other lyrics, if it does interest you, of course. So the song Renee. Baby, how the weeks fade. Baby, how the streets change. So fade, change. Actually, it's completely the opposite, because fade, it means that it fades, that it disappears little by little and until it disappears completely. Change, it's the contrary. It means that it's something more brutal. So there is a contrast again in these lyrics. And he tells you, do you hear what they say? All these people living up in my street. And he tells you, yeah, that's a game. Again, the game, the shame, the dice, a lot around the game. I didn't want to lose it on the two. So again, it's related to game. And then he says, you're playing his way, but the price that you've been. So again, playing, prize, all that is related to the game. So I think that the Dice Man had a lot of influence on the whole album, not only on Such a Shame, I think. Then if we go to the song It's My Life, funny how I find myself in love with you. If I could buy my reasoning, I'd pay to lose, one half won't do. So how I find myself, and in the second part he says, funny how I blind myself. So first he finds himself, then he blinds himself. It's again an opposite, but it rhymes. If I could buy my reasoning, so it's if I could buy my reasoning, there is something completely absurd in this. You don't buy a reasoning. I pay to lose. Again, there is a big contrast. You'd pay to lose. Do you know a lot of people who pay to lose? There is a lot of there is something of Magritte here, like this is not a pipe, or I pay to lose. I like the absurd side of this. One half won't do. One half of what? I love that. I really love these lyrics. I've asked myself, how much do you commit yourself? So, funny how I blind myself. I never knew if I was sometimes played upon. So again, the game. Afraid to lose. Going to pay to lose, but he's going to be afraid to lose. That's interesting. I tell myself, what could you do? Convince myself. So that's funny, because first I've asked myself, how much do you commit yourself? So it's like he's not very happy about this situation. He's kind of asking for explanation, like if the person in front of him has to justify herself, I suppose it's about a woman. But then I tell myself, what good you do, convince myself. So once again, he's the one who is tricking himself. So there is a contrast, because first we think that the woman is tricking him, but then it seems that himself is tricking himself. So these lyrics are very interesting. Very interesting. So then I went to Tomorrow Started. So don't look back until you try. A line so openly a lie. So there is not a play on word, but he uses two words who look a lot alike, line and lie. But also a line so openly a lie, but on the lyrics that I read somewhere, it's so openly a lie or alive. So again, it's another play on words, and not play on words, but like using different words which look really the same. And also sometimes he said outside of you, and then he says outside of you. So again, he's working on the sound of the words, and we don't know anymore what word he's saying. I love that. I'm sorry, I love the music, but I also love the lyrics. It's just tomorrow starting. It's funny because usually tomorrow starting it's something joyful, but the way he's saying it, it's rather sad. There is a form of contrast in the thing itself. It's just tomorrow starting. It should be tomorrow starting, you know, like it's joyful, but no, he says it's just tomorrow starting, like a form of sadness. So it's like it's kind of a mix of sugar and sour, if you see what I mean. Said I'm wrong when I've been right. So I've said I'm wrong when I've been right. So again, he plays on the contrasts. I've seen time when I've been sure, but still I find. So I've seen time when I've been sure, but so I've seen time when I've been sure. So he sometimes he was sure, but still I find. So it means he's not so sure because he continues to search. He's continuing searching, actually. I'm just the first that you take. Are there reasons everybody pays? So, I'm sorry, I'm singing really bad. I have a sore throat. I'm just the first that you take. Are there reasons everybody pays? So, the first and then everybody. So, again, a contrast between these two words. There never seem to be any use. It's just tomorrow starting. There never seem to be any use. Don't look back until you try. Yeah, sometimes he says, so at the beginning he says, don't look back until you try, and then he says, don't look back until you've tried. So there is a progression. It means first until you try, so you are going to try, and then you've tried, so the person already tried. Time passing, it's the theme of the song. With time you'll endlessly arrive outside of views. So that is really the, yes, it's about time. With just tomorrow starting. So with just tomorrow starting, but the title of the song is Tomorrow Started. See my eyes tell me I'm not lying. So, see my eyes tell me I'm not lying. I don't know why. All the time I was in my mind understanding, see my eyes tell me I'm not dying, which would make much more sense, because see my eyes tell me I'm not dying. So because sometimes you see if someone is dead in the eyes, and you can see if someone is dead, the eyes are not completely normal. So I think that's what he wanted to say, dying, and it's the theme of the song, the time passing and people disappearing. And I think that he wanted to say dying, but he said lying, because that is some Cockney. He used one word for another. My supposition, again, I have maybe a lot of imagination, I don't know, but that's what I feel. I am just the first that you take out the reasons everybody pays. I never seem to me. It's just tomorrow starting. Okay, so then I went to Does Caroline know? It's so easy with the thief to blame. So easy. Again, a contrast, because thief and blame doesn't go with easy. So in the same sentence, he used different words which don't fit together. Again, for breaking every pledge I've made. Again, breaking and pledge, it's completely the opposite. When you make a pledge, you are not going to break it. Does it matter if I can't say Caroline knows? So there again a contrast between the fact that Caroline knows, but he can't say. I don't know if you understand what I mean. He is playing a lot on the contrast. There is kind of a duality in his lyrics, as in himself, as in his character. It's also sad and happy, funny and desperate. You know, there is also these two things present, and he does exactly the same thing in the lyrics. I invite you to read all the lyrics. I can do in one video. I can do it in one video. It would be too long, but I invite you really to read all the lyrics. Maybe in The Color of Spring, maybe in The Color of Spring, the lyrics are a little different, especially for Life's What You Make It, where... No, I would say that the lyrics seem very direct, but they are not. No, forget what I just said. Oh, I'm sorry, I was not in the right order. There is Before the Last Time. Bring on the clowns, pain is quiet. Pain and quiet. Pain is rarely quiet, you know. Pain, usually when you are in pain, you scream, you cry, you are hurting, but you are not quiet. Again, an opposition. I have laughed at silence. I've laughed at silence. When you laugh, you are not silent. And I've laughed at silence. So purposely he put two words which don't fit together in the same sentence. For the last time, let the show begin. So for the last time, then let the show begin. Last, it's something which finishes. Let the show begin, it's something which begins, which is the beginning of something. So an opposition again. Blind to reason, these eyes are dreaming. So blind to reason. So again an opposition, because when you are reasoning you are not blind, but blind to reason, it's an opposition. These eyes, so he's blind but he speaks of these eyes are dreaming. So the eyes are seeing, but obviously they are not seeing, they are dreaming. That's really interesting. It's really very, it's some poetry. It's funny because I was always saying that I was seeing images on Mark Hollis' music, but actually I see images also on his lyrics. So now I'm wondering if I'm not seeing images because of the both. The lyrics are very rich. So Call in the Night Boys. So that's funny because the title it's Call In, but in the song it's calling. I-N-G, sorry, I-N-G, sorry, because in French we say J. Out of tune, yes, out of tune, every breath I take it over you. So out of tune, every breath. Usually you are out of tune, you don't breathe well when you sing. When you sing, the breathing is very important, and if you want to be in the tune, you have to breathe correctly by singing. And he says out of tune every breath. Again, it's a contrast. I don't care what people say, I don't care. Night is day. So night is day is definitely an obvious contrast. I remember if you say, I remember if you say. That is the contrary, it's kind of obvious. If the person say, then you remember. There is a little something absurd in that. So It's You, it's a song where there is a lot of what I'm thinking of. Say it again, heart of stone. So heart of stone. Try to imagine a heart of stone. Stone is kind of the opposite of hard. Heart, usually it's tender. Well, as we imagine it, I never saw the heart of a person, but it's not stone, it's not hard like stone. So heart of stone, well, it's an expression, of course, but there is a contrast here. Heart of stone. Red on your face, so alone. So again, red usually it's the color which attracts the attention of people, but then he says so alone. So alone, obviously, even if she has red on her face, probably she's crying, but anyway, she's alone. Say it again, I'll know it's you. God only knows. So it's funny because he says God only knows, but I'll know it's you. Once again, who knows, God or him? Again, it's not a play on word, but it's kind of a contrast. I'm petting my cat in the same time. Why do lies about this girl bother you? So yes, why do lies about this girl or his girl bother you? I was always wondering if he was speaking to a girl or to a boy. I'm not sure. Suppose he's talking to a boy and the boy doesn't want people to say lies about the girl. So again, if we must spend 10 minutes to understand a sentence, it means that there is something here. Time is waiting to explain. Time is waiting to explain. Time doesn't wait. Time is time. I mean, the time says what is the time, so the time doesn't wait. The time is passing. Time is waiting to explain. Of course, it's absurd again, but it's made purposely. Why refuse? It's you. So why refuse? It's something negative. It's you. It's something affirmative. I love that. Say it again. Heart of sand. This time it's not stone, it's sand. So imagine a heart of sand. Tears on your face, nothing stands. Of course, if you put some tears on some sand, nothing stands. Everything is pouring, running. God only knows, I've noticed you. So first he says, I know it's you. Second he says, I've noticed you. Again, he's playing on the sound of the words. So it reminds me something in the Gilmore Girls. I'm a big fan of the Gilmore Girls. It's a TV show. The dialogues in the Gilmore Girls are really excellent. Great quality, I recommend. And they speak really, really fast. Actually, I learned to speak English by watching the Gilmore Girls. I thought once I understand everything, I will be good enough in English. And in an episode, there is a woman arriving in the diner, Luke's diner, and Lorelai says to Luke, a woman is coming in, and she says hello, and Luke says, so the guy who is the manager of the diner, the owner of the diner, says Rachel, and Lorelai says to the woman, you're Rachel, in the sense you are Rachel. And then she looks at Luke and she says, you're Rachel. So you're Y-O-U-R, Rachel. So again, it's a kind of a play on the sound of the words your or your. And it's exactly what Mark Hollis is doing. I'm not saying that he copied the Gilmore Girls, because the Gilmore Girls were much after these lyrics, and also I'm not sure that the person who wrote the Gilmore Girls copied Mark Hollis, but the spirit is the same. It's the same intention, and I find that absolutely fascinating. So I've noticed you, I know it's you. When you listen to the lyrics, you don't do the difference. Nevertheless, there is a big difference in the sense of what is said. Tired of waiting to explain. So instead of time is waiting to explain, this time it's tired of waiting to explain. So again, same thing. Why refuse? It's you. So I studied like that the It's My Life album. I find that fascinating. And at the beginning I thought it was my imagination, but when I found that in different songs and in different albums, and then when I studied how Cockney was working, I thought it was not my imagination. There is something there. So I invite you to take lyrics written by Mark Hollis. By the way, It's You is not written by PJ Harvey as it's written on internet. It's written by Mark Hollis. I will going to show you that. I have that. I bought that in 1984, 85, something like that. It's written, It's You, written by Mark Hollis. So if you see PJ Harvey on internet, no, it's wrong. It's wrong. I don't know why they wrote that. That's ridiculous. And anyway, we recognize Mark Hollis' style. We recognize his lyrics. So we recognize his way of writing. So I checked because I love It's You so much that I wanted to know who wrote that song, and it's Mark Hollis. I don't get it. And it's funny, if you look at on the CDs, it's not always written, but I guarantee that Mark Hollis wrote It's You. I was saying I invite you to check lyrics written by Mark Hollis, and if you find things like that, play on words. If you know how to speak Cockney, give me information. You are welcome to do so in the comment below, because I absolutely love learning about that. I find that absolutely fascinating. I would like one day being able to speak a little in Cockney. I think it's so fun. It's really fun. Anyway, I have to go back to cook. I'm doing my videos by a very weird way. I'm sorry, it's not going to be always like that. I will make more efforts later, but I really have so much work. Okay, thank you, bye bye, and I see you very soon.